Welcome back to Two Up Front, presented by Three Lines Pub here at the Attention Era Media Studios. I am Baxter Colburn.
And this is Simon Provan.
All right, Simon Provan, a first segment full of the MLS Western Conference, a very detailed preview. If you missed any of it, you can go back and watch part one here on Brew Sports. You can also listen to it here in its full entirety on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, and on iTunes as well. All right, so the Eastern Conference last year produced a lot of surprises in Major League Soccer, Simon. Toronto kind of finally getting out of their funk after not making the playoffs for so long, and then it seemed like they finally put it all together, made a great title run, and then Stephen Fry's hand happened, basically.
Yeah, it's terrible to not only lose a final, but terrible to lose a final against a team that didn't even record a shot on goal, Baxter.
Still frustrates me. I'm just like, that's the most Seattle thing to do, and we talked about that with Chris Blakely last week, and he's like, yes, it is, but we still won. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Fine. We totally get it.
By the way, give credit to the Seattle Sounders. Anybody who has a Sounders jersey can go by the team store or something like that and get a star.
Oh, really?
On their jersey.
Oh, good for them.
Thumbs up to the Seattle Sounders.
Seattle really does it right. Seattle and Portland, from a soccer perspective, they do it right. They have the supporters groups. They have the chants. They've got the stadiums. If you want a good picture of what soccer in America is, or if you just want to show small pockets, be like, go look over there. It's really good. But, some places like New England, you just don't need to talk about that.
Yes.
All right, so the Western Conference, you've got FC Dallas finishing first, and then you've got Seattle and Portland 2-3. So for me, over in the Eastern side, I'm actually going to start from the bottom and work my way up.
All right.
I'm going to go 11 through 7 right off the bat. Orlando, I think, is going to finish dead last in the Eastern Conference. I have not been thrilled with anything that Orlando's been doing in the offseason. The trade Breck Shea for Giles Barnes. If Giles Barnes was actually playing like he was 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be like, holy crap, Orlando won this trade hands down. But he was struggling last year. He struggled for Houston. He struggled for Vancouver. Now he's in an Orlando team that, doesn't even have Kevin Molino anymore. I mean, they have Kaká, but how often can you rest on Kaká?
Well, one thing to keep in mind with Orlando, we'll see what they do with all that money they got from Minnesota United.
True.
So that's the wild card for me with
Orlando. And there's still time, of course. I mean, the transfer season even goes into the first couple of weeks of Major League Soccer as well, too. So there's a possibility of some other player getting worked in.
And there's always the summer as well, Baxter.
Yeah, exactly. Some teams are going to be like, look, as long as we're not in last place come summertime, we'll figure it out.
That's right.
At that point. Montreal is going to make a big drop. They're going to finish in 10th, I think, this year. Drogba leaving. Piatti can really only do so much. You look at the Eastern Conference, how many times do we see teams that are so dependent on one player? Literally one player.
That's true.
And we thought TFC was that team as well, too. It's like, look, we know Giovinco. When he got injured, how good is TFC? Then Bradley and Altidore and everybody else started figuring it out, and it worked out better. But for so long, you talk about Montreal, it's like, well, Piatti. And who else? I feel like
well, you got Simon in the back. You've got a decent goalkeeper in Bush when he's up for it.
But if you're looking for players to take over the game, especially offensively in a league in a sport where in any sport you have to score points to win the game. Of course, this isn't golf. You're not trying to get the lowest score.
Sure, I'll be interested to see how Oduro does up top, though. Talking about offensively.
Yep, I would agree with you on that one. My number 9 is the Philadelphia Union. They made a good run last year, finishing in the Eastern Conference in 6th place overall. 42 total points. They just beat out New England based off of a goal differential. But Philadelphia, once again, they're kind of an enigma. I think other teams in the Eastern Conference have done more to be more productive in the offseason, and I think Philly's going to struggle again to find relevance.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, Baxter.
Looking at number 8, they're not going to be the worst team in the league last year for sure with all their additions. I think Chicago's going to finish number 8, honestly. I don't want to be a bandwagon person and say, look, they're going to be in the playoffs, because it's too much to think about, I feel like.
What I've been seeing is that most people are saying they won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I'm going to disagree with you. They're my Colorado Rapids.
They're your bubble,
of the East.
basically.
Yes, I think they make the playoffs this year. I think they surprise a lot of people and finally make the playoffs.
And I think my 7 and 8 can kind of be interchanged. I think 7, my 7 is Atlanta, and my 8 is Chicago. So I think either one of those two can flip-flop. I don't think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs. I made that mistake with NYCFC and Orlando when they both are expansion teams.
Sure.
But I think Atlanta, they've done everything right thus far, but will it translate over? Yeah, they've had some great preseason wins against college teams and U23 teams and USL sides and all that stuff. It's great and all, but tell me how good you're going to be in TFC on a Tuesday night when it's pouring rain, or how good are you going to be in Portland or Seattle or LA? I need to see more from Atlanta before I fully sell out that they're going to be a playoff team.
No, I agree with that, Baxter. I mean, of course, their whole team's a wild card. They've done some great work offensively, but they're another team as well that, okay, defensively, though, what do you look like? Are they going to have a lot of draws? I do think they're going to be one of the more exciting teams in the league with the young players.
You're going to want to tune in anytime they're on,
that's right,
just to see what happens. And I think that's what Orlando was supposed to be when they first started off, because they had a lot of good young players, but now they've transitioned so much. They've gotten so old and just so not popular. Yeah. Their stadium is gorgeous. Nothing against the new stadium. People are saying it's the best stadium in all of Major League Soccer, which I probably would agree with. My number 6 is DC United. They had a good season last year, surprised a lot of people. I think if the Patrick Mullins from last season shows up again, I think we're going to be in for a big surprise.
And I could actually see them being a dark horse come playoff time as well.
Exactly. The defense is the question for me, of course, with them as well. A lot of the Eastern Conference teams, the offense is there, the defense hasn't always been there. Bill Hamid, if he's healthy, of course, is a fantastic goalkeeper, but DC United's defense struggled a little bit last year. Definitely have some great players that they can really maybe make a push, but I think they will for sure make the playoffs. Number 6 is my slot for them, though. Number 5 is the New England Revolution. The offense is always there. New England could honestly, 5, 6, 7, 8, honestly could all be interchanged for me in the Eastern Conference, and I think it's going to come down to that 5-point difference between all of them. New England obviously has the offense. Defensively, they've added a lot of new guys, so I think that you've got a good opportunity to maybe solidify things in the back, but new goalkeeper, it's either going to be Brad Knight or Cody Cropper. Not a big fan of either of them, honestly.
I think Cody Cropper is a decent player and can surprise a lot of people. They're between the posts, but I'm not sure I'd put New England in the playoffs, Baxter. I'll be surprised if they make it.
Offensively,
not to break your heart.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, offensively, I think they're there, and I think that would be the only way that would carry them that far. I thought 5 was a little bit high, honestly, but DC United, though, still, and New England and DC are kind of all over the place. I've got Columbus at number 4 just because they've made a lot of smart decisions in the offseason to shore up the defense. And Ola Kamara obviously had a fantastic year last year. Will Trapp is on the team as well, and Higuain. This is a Columbus team that I think is just really upset with how last season finished. And I think they're going to come out looking for fire this year.
I'll tell you one thing about Columbus. They've got the best looking jerseys in the league.
Yeah,
they really
agree with you. I've seen the new ones.
That's all I can tell you about Columbus, though.
Best jerseys, we'll see. We'll see from there. One person on Chicago says, Celebrate Chicago says that they think Chicago will make the playoffs. Corey says Orlando is making no moves. Sad, really. Aaron also says he's sick of New England. So totally understand that, I guess.
No stadium, playing on a pitch that still has football lines. I'm telling you, go read the Rob Stone comments back.
I'm going to.
You will love it.
I will have to during the break. All right, quickly then, NYCFC is number 3, the Red Bulls are 2, and I think TFC is going to finish number 1. So NYCFC is my wild card, but they're not at the same time because they didn't really lose anybody. Yeah, they lost Frank Lampard. David Villa's playing his mind out again in preseason. I think they're going to be exceptional again this year. They signed USL leading goal scorer and MVP Sean Oakley, who is an incredible young starlet. If he can learn from David Villa, you can have a 1-2 punch with those guys. Kyrie Shelton is coming through the ranks as well, too. Pirlo, of course, is quietly still world class. There's a lot of things that are going for NYCFC.
Absolutely. They got a couple of young players out of Liga MX as well. Yep. So, I could see NYCFC perhaps surprising people and actually ended up in that number 1 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. The Red Bulls number 2, TFC number 1. I think TFC is still going to be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference.
I agree.
Red Bulls didn't do enough in the offseason, for my opinion, to push them over that.
Red Bulls had a wonky offseason.
They did.
Is what they
and
had.
TFC didn't really lose anybody either.
Well, the whole deal with Ali Curtis being a mystery, where is he? Where is he? And finally they come out and say, we've mutually agreed to part ways. And as much as Marsh
might have been moving to Real Salzburg.
Right.
Red Bull Salzburg.
Red Bull Real Salzburg. I don't know where that is.
I don't know. It's a reality, I promise. I don't know.
So TFC is your number 1.
TFC is my number 1, yep. Red Bulls, NYCFC 2-3, Columbus 4, Revolution, and United 5-6. So I wouldn't be mad about that playoffs. Of course, I think it'd be better for the league if ATL makes it in. I think if Chicago makes it in, that shifts things up. But Philly, Montreal, Orlando, don't see any of those making the playoffs this year.
All right,
we're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Rachel Wood to talk about the She Believes Cup on the shopfutsal.com. Call in line, stay with us. It's 2 Up Front, presented by 3 Line.